I just spoke on a panel with Sargon and Carlos. How do you say his name? Alazraki.
I didn't have facial hair, so I got excluded.
Yeah. So this is Sargon. Sargon. This is Rudkowski of We Are Change, and I'm Tim Pool if you're not familiar. So we did an event where Sargon essentially got a ton of people to show up to hear about his presentation on the ideological collapse of the left. And what I thought would be a really interesting conversation now following the event, this is, basically you got a huge audience of people from the event.
Live show.
But I thought it would be interesting to see a conversation between the two of you about the need for people to come out and be active. First, why are you doing, Sargon, why are you doing live events? Why do you think it's important?
I think it makes people more visible. It's easy to look at numbers on a screen and not really see them as real people watching like a live stream or a video or something like that. But when you've got dozens of people just standing there and they're all looking, either all cheering or booing or whatever it is they're doing, it becomes more real. It's something impactful that people notice bodies. They notice the numbers, and then even a few hundred people looks like a formidable number.
Isn't it crazy how on a YouTube video you can see 100,000, but when you look at 50 people in front of you, it feels so much more powerful.
Oh yeah, very much so. Especially like when I go in like just a standing ovation, it's just like holy shit, there is a force to it, and it's it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it's intimidating at the same time. It's
From the hippie side of it, there's always like frequencies and energies, and you feel them resonate through other people. But you need to do that. You need to get out there and not be in that basement, not to just be in your own echo chamber that's repeating the same things over and over and over again. People have this bias within them where they only want to hear their opinions regurgitated to them. Once you go out there, once you have these kind of events with these dialogues between the left and right, once you actually travel, see the world, talk to people, see how other governments exist, see how other people live, bam, you're like, wow, your whole mind starts opening up, and that's the best way a mind works when it's open.
What's actually really interesting about that is, look, you did an event called the Ideological Collapse of the Left. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody came to see you because they agree with you.
Yeah.
But how often do you get to hear from other people face to face about their experiences and their opinions, maybe arguments, criticisms?
Oh yeah, there was a chap who the reason that I was late in Whole Foods to sit down and eat is because some people who were there were like, we didn't really appreciate the tone of the thing because it sounded like you were attacking women. I'm like, good, because I was basically viewing men in the same way feminists approach women, and I'm reversing the dynamic and saying, look, if we're the oppressed class, we can talk about women however the fuck we like now, and it sounds awful, which is how feminists talk about men. It genuinely sounds awful, and it's like, and they were like, God, we were really offended by it. It's like, good, because that's kind of the point.
So here's what I want to hear. I've known you for a long time, Luke, and I don't think I've had a conversation with you about. Look, Sargon's talking about how men feel. Like you're saying like. Basically, you just said it.
I think there are certain there are certain men who feel oppressed by women. Definitely. Individual men who feel that women have more power than them, more influence than them. People respond more to when a woman says something's wrong, people listen. When this dude here says something's wrong, who cares? When you've got a problem, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? It's like, it's only people who care about you and are close to you, but random strangers care about women's problems. And it's like,
So that's because they want to meet with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I've never heard your stance on this kind of issue.
The issue exactly as portrayed as what, men's rights?
If that's what you want to call it. I don't know about men's rights.
Well, to me, it's all about just your attitude and your mind frame. If you see yourself as a victim, if you see yourself as like the softie who wants to be protected, you're giving up your power and you're trying to get an authority to come in there and fix it for you. I don't have that mentality. If someone discriminates against me, calls me a big-nosed Putin looking like Polak, and I'm like, I don't care. That's funny. I enjoy that comment that you just made about me. It's okay that you have those opinions because I only am affected by it if I choose to be affected by it, choose to be offended on it. If a woman's not giving me any attention, I'm like, yeah, sure, you have your own life, you have your own existence, go enjoy it out there. But it's all about the mentality, and now a lot of the media is teaching you victimization is the best way to become popular. Victimization to gain power. It's like, look at me, I'm so hurt. That's the opposite of how our mind frame should work, because if we make that switch, we can start being so much freer. Exactly.
It's totally disempowering, and it's a way of literally them saying, give us control over you. And it's exactly what you're saying, and it's like, it's not good to be a victim. It's not good to be a fucking victim. It's sad, No one wants to be a victim. Shouldn't want to be a victim.
There are people who actually do want to be victims.
Absolutely.
These are people who understand the power dynamic and
exactly. They understand they can take advantage of it. And it's especially effective for women because people give a shit.
Yeah.
People care.
Well, so then you understand. You made a point. You understand what it feels like to be constantly attacked by feminists.
Yeah.
Why recreate that feeling in other people?
So they know what it's like. But especially now, by their own logic, by the progressive lens, men can do that. We can legitimately say we as men are earning less, we're the minority in universities, we live shorter lives, we commit suicide more. We are now oppressed, we're victims. Obviously, I don't want anyone to actually do that, but the point is proven.
But even in the articles you were showing in your presentation, they still blame patriarchy.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like when you just create this feeling in someone else, you're not solving it, you're creating more.
Well, it's proving the point, because a lot of the time people can't really empathize particularly well if they're trapped in a specific worldview. It's difficult to break out of it. And if you sort of give them like the shocking role reversal and be like, actually, you're now the oppressive force, you're in the wrong, and that's what they care about. That's how they view the world. And so, I mean, like I said, obviously I don't want men to become victims or anything. But the point is proven, men do need help. There's no getting around it. Men are
I think it's fair to say that there are issues that men need help with, there are issues that women need help with, and things like that, and we should take it under individual consideration.
Now that's exactly my solution to the problem. But sometimes you need to have a demonstration, say, look, it's not all one-sided. In fact, it's gone the other way. It's gone so far the other way that I can use your tools to make you the oppressor. And that's something I hope you resonate with.
And again, the point, coming back to the original point that we started, is about getting out there. You could get out there in different levels. You could go out to different events, but you could also travel the world and really see what the world is like outside of your little bubble. And you go to places like India, which is the rape capital of the world, in New Delhi. You go to places in Somalia where everyone's starving and don't have any food. You go to places like Venezuela, like, you've been to Venezuela, you saw it like it was there. You get a whole different grasp of what is really victimhood and what is really happening there. And you're like, wait, what you're doing there is so stupid and silly when you're so lucky.
I saw your video going to Somalia and I was just like, holy shit, it's a different world.
Let me tell a funny story, all right? So, when I was in Brazil, I went to the favelas. Okay, the favelas are slums. They're built without any regulation. They're built on top of each other. And this Brazilian said, "How come the rich people in America were protesting?" And I was like, "Wait, what rich people?" And they were like, "The Occupy." And I was like, "Oh no, the Occupy was the poor people against the rich people." And she went, "Americans are all rich."
Comparatively,
I looked at the statistics, and it's like a Brazilian will earn like $8,000 a year, and an American will get like 55. To them, we're the rich people complaining about not being rich enough. And that's so when you have someone in America. This is interesting. Someone was arguing with me about poverty, and I'm thinking like, man, I don't think we should accept poverty. We should definitely strive to lift people up. A rising tide raised all ships. But yeah, even poor people in the U.S. are leaps and bounds above those of other countries and things like that.
Poverty is all relative.
All relative. There's a statistic I believe out there that if you make $30,000 in the United States, you're richer. You're a part of the 1%.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
isn't that crazy?
Just think about that. There's so much things going on elsewhere. Open your mind up, and you really could start seeing the things that actually do matter instead of all these silly things, whether it's taking a knee or a stupid tweet or someone taking Ambien or doing something dumb. All that stuff doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly.
There is a reason they call it first world problems. That's all you can really say. First world problems is a true thing.
I always tell people, because I grew up south side of Chicago, poor. If I'm in the middle of the woods, buck naked, to me that's zero. That's where you're at nothing. If I'm in the middle of the woods, buck naked and bleeding, now I'm at a negative and need help. If I'm buck naked in the middle of the woods with a pointy stick, I got something going on, right? And this kind of comes from me traveling the world and seeing just how bad it really is in other places, and it puts it into perspective. And I'll tell you what, I was like anarcho-punk growing up, and then when I started traveling the world, like around the time after Occupy and seeing all these other countries, there was one point where I came back to the U.S. and had this moment of realization in immigration, where I'm about to walk up to this immigration agent who's got like a bland look on his face, like next, and I had a smile on my face, and I was like, holy shit, I'm genuinely happy to be back in this comfortable country, like seriously. But let's wrap up on a final thought. Do you think getting all of these people that were normally just internet dwellers out into these events is going to have a big impact politically or anything? Or
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like in Britain, we did the Day for Freedom March. It must have been around 10,000 people who turned up. It was the most.
Let me stop you.
It was the most intimidating crowd I ever saw.
You said at the march you did, not the Day for Freedom, but the march for, I think, Dankula,
Yeah.
we've become the people who bullhorn, my God, something like that.
Yeah, we have. And
Is that a good thing?
No, not that I like it, but you've got to do it. I'm not like the sort of guy who normally speaks in front of crowds. I get terrible stage fright, and yet I feel compelled to have to do something. And being present in real life is the most impactful thing. You're absolutely right. It really is.
Get off social media because it's a cancer to society, and it gives you
it's making us
depression,
crazy.
it gives you all these other anxieties and all these other disorders.
It makes you myopic. It gives you a narrow worldview.
Yeah.
Man, I get bummed out because of Twitter. I get bummed out. You can clearly see the bubbles. You know, like when one of your tweets permeates one of the other bubbles, you get attacked like crazy.
They can't stand it. They can't stand it.
And the hatred and the victimhood and the pride and the ego, it's like,
Something happens when you come face to face with that internet person. It becomes a lot harder to be angry. Although some people.
Same with Carlos on the panel, the progressive guy on the panel. You know, you could tell he was nervous. And there was high emotions running, and he started conflicting with people in the crowd. And it's just like, if this was on the internet, you know, they wouldn't be keeping a reasonable dialogue. It would be going hammer and tongs. People would be screaming.
There's a guy that came up to me here. He's like, "Oh man, I was trolling you a couple years ago. Like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean it like that." I'm like, I don't care, man. It's just internet comments.
Yeah, it's the internet. You know what I mean? All right, so anyway, we just left the event. We're at a bar. We got a bunch of people hanging out. And I thought it would be cool to do kind of like a debrief conversation about why have the event. We just did it. But Luke is now going to have a conversation with Sargon about, I guess, some political issues, and I don't know what you guys are talking about. But
Power and media and you as well.
Power and media. So go. I'll put a button up in the corner so you can pop over to Luke's channel to see that video. Thank you all so much for hanging out. You can find me on Twitter at Timcast. Stay tuned. New videos every day at 4 p.m. Seriously, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.